Hey guys, back again with another video. This one's going to be a little bit different. This is going to be more of a release video than a review video because I'm going to be covering more than one disc. This is all for MVP's new branch off company, which is Streamline discs. They're finally moving out into the solo mold world, so if anybody was looking at MVP and Axiom before but wasn't sure how to feel about the overmolds, don't worry, they've got you covered. So they've come out with two discs so far. This first release was the putter, the Pilot. So we've got it in Electron and Electron Soft. Both of these ones that I have, this one's a 173 and this is a 172 in the soft plastic. It's a really neutral, stable, straight flying putter, really controllable, as well as they came out with a driver, and that driver was the Trace, which I have been absolutely loving. This is the first run stamp of the Trace. This is a 170. I have a 167 with the stock stamp. And then I also have two 173s in the stock stamp. As you can see, I've been really loving this. I went out and got myself two more after the first two that I got just because I've been enjoying them so much. Really like those drivers. So let's start with the Pilot just to talk about the putting a little bit. So it's pretty flat on top. I like the feel of it in my hand. As far as just straight putting goes, I was really happy with its consistency. I never really worried about what it was going to do in the air, or it turning a little too much if I spun it, or it hyzering out early or anything like that. It's got plenty of glide to it. I was able to really stretch out some putts and get some long putts in, which made me happy. Really good disc as far as putting goes. If it feels good in the hand, has always been what I've said is most important about putters. So if you get a chance to find one of these, track them down. They're definitely worth picking up. And I've been pretty impressed with what they did as far as in the circle putting goes. Normally I don't like, as I've said before, the deeper dish feeling putters, but this is a really good medium range depth to it. I think you'd be happy regardless of you start with the deep dish putters or the thin rimmed putters. It's a pretty good medium ground. So I was enjoying it. Off the tee, it's an extremely straight putter. It reminds me a lot of something like the Atom or the Anode, where it's got that neutral stability where you can really choose whatever line you want to put it on. I was able to throw turnover shots that faded just to flat and landed where I needed them to. Hyzer shots held pretty well. It's not a steep hyzer at any point. It is, like I said, pretty neutral stable. It's not really overstable, but it did hold hyzers pretty well. Nice little left fade, as well as the straight shots were great. If I was able to pull it through correctly, when my form was on, it went dead straight, wouldn't really fade out, wouldn't really turn over. It's really controllable, can pick almost any line that you want to with this thing. I did do, just out of curiosity, a little bit of forehanding with it, and I was actually pretty surprised. You know, normally I don't forehand any putters other than the Envy, and that's only really when I need to. And this did really well. It was real clean, smooth release and flights and everything. So I was pretty happy with how it did on really every side of the ball. I think they picked two really good molds of discs, really good types of discs to start with as far as Streamline goes. Just picking a really controllable driver that's useful to everybody and a really neutral, stable, controllable putter. It's really good for pretty much any situation. On to the Trace, which has been incredible in my bag. I've absolutely loved this thing. Like I said, I went out and bought two more of them after the first two, and I've been loving these discs a ton. They filled a spot in my bag that I really needed, which is that straight, controllable placement driver. I don't really crush these for distance, although I did pump them off of a couple of downhill holes today, clear out to almost 500 feet using the downhill. And I've been able to get them up to 400 pretty easily on flat ground, and that's throwing 75-80%, looking for control more than anything. They're really good for gentle hyzers. I threw some spike hyzers with them. They're extremely consistent. Pulling them flat, you get some nice, easy turn to them, especially the 173s. I'll get a little bit of turn on the flat line, and then they'll pull out at the end and get a nice skip or a nice little fade. The 170, this is the 171st run that I've had, which is really predictable turn. I've been able to stretch it out a little further. It doesn't get too far right, but it gets enough turn to really elongate the flight and really show you that you're getting everything out of the disc. And then I've used my purple one, my 167, for more shots that I need to finish over to the right. It won't really turn over and run unless I put it on an anti-line or I did some testing into some wind. I'll talk about that in a second. But it does a great job of getting some right turn in there so that you can have a right moving shot. You can get placement over further towards the right. As far as the wind goes, I was pretty impressed, especially with the 170 and the 167 with how they put up within wind. I have some footage in here that we got on a day where we were dealing with probably 25 to 30 miles an hour of just straight crosswind, left to right crosswind. And they definitely flipped more, but every single time, I think once I had the 167 really kind of run away to the right, and even then it faded to flat before it hit the ground. So not like it ran and rolled or it just flipped over and died on me. Every single one of them, even the lighter weights, did a great job fighting back against the wind and really still pulling consistent lines. Even with that much crosswind, I was able to pull through just a slight hyzer and land the discs, 370 out and within a handful of feet from each other. So I was really impressed. I've been throwing them forehand as well, and my forehand is starting to get a little bit better. Hooray. And they've done a great job just being a really controlled forehand. They're not crazy overstable. They're not a meat hook, which has allowed me, before the last month or so, my forehand has been pretty much only necessary. I only use it when necessary when I want that huge spike hyzer. And this has allowed me, with the control that they give you, the ease of flight and everything, to flick them straight, flick them flat, and really open up more lines without needing that huge overstability. Like I said, biggest thing to take away from the Trace is it's extremely controllable and consistent. I think it's a great disc for almost anybody other than maybe the very new beginners that don't need drivers yet. Once you get to driver speed, this is an extremely useful disc for anybody. One of my favorite spots to have filled in my bag to be happy about is the drivers that I can pull through on a placement shot and know exactly where they're going to go. Almost any wind conditions. We've had some crazy weather lately, which is why it's taken me so long to get this video out. And even with the crazy weather we've been having, I've been counting on these things. They haven't let me down yet. They go exactly where I need them to go and really control, really consistent land where I need them to be. So I've been extremely excited about that. Also, fun fact, for anybody out there as a tournament director or club owner or club president or anything like that, if you're looking for a disc for custom stamping or anything, I did find this out. They've got triple foil stamps on all of them, which is great. And one of the most interesting things about this to me, this new company, the offshoot company, is they've come out with the best priced premium plastic that I've ever seen. So I think that I've seen these for $12 or $13 in the premium top-of-the-line plastic. It's incredible, Neutron plastic, and it's really great to see that. Hopefully it brings more competitive pricing to the game across the board. Really excited to see that this is available to people in such a great price for really good plastic. As well as, of course, to mention the plastic. You guys have heard me say it a bunch of times, but I'll say it again. I love Electron plastic. It's great. It's my favorite of the baseline plastics just for the feel and everything. These have done a great job so far. I've been throwing them a ton the last couple weeks, and you can't really tell at all with the medium Electron that it's seen some wear and tear. And this soft Electron has taken a couple dings, but the disc still flies exactly like it did when I pulled it out of the box for the first time. So, been absolutely loving these. If you guys are looking at the Streamline discs, so you guys have seen them and you're curious about them, definitely go out and check them out. I've been absolutely loving both of them so far. The Trace has gone right in my bag, and like I said, I immediately went and bought 2 more of them. Excited about both of these molds and to see what other molds keep coming out from Streamline. Really glad to have that company around with the great prices and great plastic. So if you guys have any other questions about it, feel free to let me know and ask anything in the comments below. Hopefully I'll have the next video up again soon. I'll probably track down something else. I'm not sure what it'll be yet. If you have any suggestions, let me know. But as long as the weather holds, we'll have another video up here in a week or two. Thanks for watching.